Tēnā koutou katoa, my name is Kate McKay-Zamu and I am one of the Curriculum Resource Developers at the National Centre for Religious Studies. This is an introductory video to support your planning and teaching for Year 7 and 8's PL3 in the Our Story theme, Ā Tātou Whakapapa. Within each learning pack we provide background notes which are filled with the theological knowledge you need to support your teaching, a detailed suggested learning sequence document which provides in-depth teacher notes and ideas for you and is filled with all the links you need, and a visual overview. The visual overview gives you a place where you can find all the resources for the pack. It can also be uploaded to Google, and we recommend embedding it onto your planning websites if this is what your kura does, to keep the links to our documents current, as they are live documents and may be adapted at different times. The last page includes links to wider resources that will be helpful across the whole theme, such as the YouTube playlist, our website, all links lists, and the themes bookshelf. As I'm sure you are aware now, we incorporate Kahoot quizzes as well as digital games on WordWall as fun ways to consolidate knowledge. Through the feedback we have received, we are now including a PDF version of all our digital books and PowerPoint presentations with teacher notes, so you can print these out to use alongside the presentations. We're also adapting PowerPoints to make Google Slides available. We will continue to grow in this area, and if you have any other ways that could make it easier to access our material, please get in touch with anyone in our NCRS team. We have our whānau connection pages here, which can be sent home as digital or paper resources for families to engage with what is being taught at school. We can't cover all the learning intentions here, but we choose a few from each pack we think would open doors for discussion and growth at home. Set B for this theme is called Meeting Our Neighbours. There are 5 learning packs within this set. The mission, the good news comes to Asia and the Pacific, different Christian communities in our neighbourhood, different faith communities in our neighbourhood, and being a good neighbour. We recommend doing these in this order. Learning Pack 1 is titled The Mission. This pack begins by exploring the ideas your learners already have around what a missionary is, as well as what the mission is. There are some YouTube clips you can choose from to share with your class, and a link to the missionary community of St. Paul the Apostle, so you can read some of the stories there, helping learners to continue to build on their ideas of what a missionary is. Next, we have made a YouTube clip based on information from the background notes around evangelizing, what the mission means for Christians, and how people can evangelize through their actions in their lives. There is a follow-up activity page to explore the ideas in the clip further. We have a digital book, Answering Jesus' Call, to go even deeper about being a missionary here and now, with a follow-up page to explore what this means and a digital game to consolidate. Then we move into Early Believers. We have a this or that jigsaw activity here where in groups, learners read about the first believers and their role in establishing the church in their homeland. They answer questions and choose a task related to the ideas of their part of the story. Then they form new groups to share their knowledge and help answer the questions on the Kahoot quiz. There are questions from each of the 3 reading pages, so all members of the new groups are important in this. Challenges is the final part of this pack. Learners are invited to think about what challenges the early missionaries faced. They make some challenges and benefits cards based on these headings. Then they use this information to make a short skit based on one of the challenges of their choice. Next, there is an opportunity to have a class debate if your rangatahi are familiar with how a debate runs. The suggested moot here is, it is harder today for people to spread the good news than it was in the 1800s. This will give your learners an opportunity to go wider and deeper into their thinking here. What challenges are still present today that existed then? What challenges are different? We have so much more technology now, But are people more closed off in our secular societies today? There is a final activity connecting this learning to the students' lives, barrier breakers. Ākonga will think about what some of the barriers are to getting closer to God today for people of their age. Then they talk about how they can break down these barriers, giving them very real tools they can use in their lives. We teach them to lean on the fruits and the gifts of the Holy Spirit here, reminding them of these taonga that they can lean into whenever they need them. Finally, there is a reflection you can do through prayer. Play some background music and give your learners time to hear God and to think about what kind of person they are being called to be. Learning Pack 2 is called The Good News Comes to Asia and the Pacific. Rangatahi will learn about individuals and religious orders who took the good news to these parts of the world and why they did this, what the good news is, and they have a chance to learn more about a missionary or first believer of their choice. Now, this pack doesn't go into the New Zealand history. They were introduced that in our story in PL2, and they will go much more into depth about it in Year 11. This pack begins with some important points about how history has been recalled. As we know, it is really hard to find factual information about many of our beautiful cultures from long ago, because in many cases those stories were only passed down orally. The written accounts are heavily based on colonizers' stories, and sadly, many local early believers often didn't have their stories written down at all, so they have been lost. There are many people who have tried to rectify this though, and who still are. And we hope that Laurel's research into this rich history supports your learners in discovering special stories that speak of courage and wisdom, and that these help inspire them in their hikoi wairua today. Next, we go into thinking again about what the good news is. Learners have thought about this at a few different points throughout Tō Tātou Whakapono our faith, and this is a great time to build on the understanding of the good news for everyone. There is a discussion here for you to get them thinking. Why is lots of news good for some but not for all? What are some examples in your community and around the world? You can then connect this to what Scripture teaches us about what the good news is. There is a timeline that goes right back to St. Thomas the Apostle. Then we have 2 read and reflect activities in this pack. The first is based on the mission in Asia. Learners read the information page with a partner and record some notes. They then have the opportunity for discussion around what they have read through these questions. You can get them thinking and talking through any oral language technique you like, such as the donut circle. We have made 6 information postcards, each with a story of how the good news came to that place, which you can explore as a whole class, or in groups, or independently. And there is a follow-up choice board to give your learners time to explore one of the places or people they would like to think and learn more about. The second read and reflect activity is based around the mission in the Pacific. There is a reading page again and another group of reflective questions you could use as an oral language activity. Next, we touch on the Marist family as an introduction to many of the stories of the Pacific which are connected to the Marists. There is an information page about Samoa and the Marists and a comic about the Marists' arrival in Tonga, followed by a game which explores the Tongan story further to consolidate these ideas. We have made 3 book templates, one for Futuna, Samoa and Tonga. In groups, learners can read about these stories and make them into class books. We recommend printing these on A3 paper where possible. We have 6 information cards you can look at before students use these in their own research. We finish this pack off with AO5's Final Ally, where learners get to inquire into one of the inspiring people they have heard about in this pack or the previous pack, the mission. We have the Student Inquiry PowerPoint, which is also available on Google to use if you wish. There is a space to brainstorm your class questions or possible options to guide the inquiry, and space for individual or small group planning. They can write down who they're going to research, why, what they already know, and what they'd like to find out to narrow the class questions down. Then we have made all the resources from this pack available for learners to view again, giving them access to a huge range of information to choose from and use in their research. Here we have also included the visual elements they could incorporate into any digital presentations, the AI generated images, and lots of backgrounds they could use for posters, PowerPoints, videos, or Google Slides. The following 3 learning packs are closely connected and we recommend doing them in order. We have this learning pack, 3.3b, Different Christian Communities in Our Neighbourhood, where students learn what community is, that Catholics are part of a larger community, and that there are other Christian communities in your area that have similar and different beliefs to you. Then we go out further in 3.4b to different religious communities in our neighbourhood, where your young people will explore some of the other religious communities you have nearby. And then in 3.5b, being a good neighbour, they will explore ways to embrace being a large community with these groups together, where even if beliefs are different, respect, peace, and connection can be achieved among us. We begin by bringing the thinking into this space, discussing how there are Christian communities other than Catholics who have similarities and differences in their beliefs and practices. Exploring what a community is next, and we have an infographic explaining this. They look at the word denomination and link this with the Nicene Creed. We have a Christian family tree here. Now this is definitely not perfect. As you can imagine, this is extremely complicated and complex, and we just wanted to give the children a simplified version of this to support their understanding of the connection between the denominations, with the first and most important, of course, being He Who Karaiti. This is a resource that we will be returning to in order to refine at a later date. Then we go right back to the part of our story set in the 1500s. There is a digital book with a simplified explanation of the Reformation period. Learners can share what denominations they have heard of and make a class list before playing the hum game, a fun way to unpack some information from the 2023 census. We then go into ecumenism and hear a prayer from Pope Leo to share what the Church teaches about showing love and respect to people of other religions. Finally, your learners get time to explore and inquire again. This time they are looking into a Christian community in your neighbourhood. You may have invited someone in to talk about this before beginning research, and we have these inquiry templates to scaffold your learners. There are lots of example questions your ākonga could use to find answers to, such as these, and they can come up with their own as well. Another important thing to make note of is this list of websites here. Now, we have looked at them and we do want to save your precious time so you can get on with teaching your students, but please have a look at any of the websites that you want to share with them before you do so. These websites have information on them that will support in their research. We have tried to stick with well-known sites such as BBC and Britannica Kids, and we have also tried to find actual New Zealand-specific websites for each of the religions here, so your rangatahi can go on a real website to see what their services, outreach, and community may look like or see as important. These websites are obviously made for adults though, so it's up to you to decide which of your students will be able to navigate them, which ones you will support in navigating them, and which ones you will just get to go on this children's websites. There are also pop-up advertisements in many of these websites, which we have no control over. Technology and the internet is constantly growing and changing, so we just need to continue to exercise caution. We also want to encourage groups to get information from a range of sources and really hope that some of these can be in person, with people in your community visiting to talk to the children or via other means such as Zoom. Learning Pack 4 is titled Different Faith Communities in Our Neighbourhood, As I explained, this is a follow-on from the previous pack. Ākonga will experience how there are people from other world religions in their neighbourhood who have a variety of beliefs and practices that may be similar or different to Christianity. Such an awesome opportunity to build understanding and respect for other people. So firstly, we go into the why of this. We want learners to buy in and want to engage. So understanding why this is such important learning is vital, and you can use Pope Leo's prayer here again. We have created these beautiful resources based off the information in the background notes for you to explore with your class and for them to use in their own research. We have digital books for Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism, and Judaism. We hope your learners love these books. They are filled with information and links that take them to more information and different YouTube clips, so lots to explore. We also have information pages and pamphlets made for the final 3 religions that we go into. Once again, your rangatahi have the opportunity to learn more about what they find interesting. We again have our questions to explore through research. One thing my own daughter asked me when she read some of the books I made for this pack was, if people don't believe in God, how do they think the world was made? What is their creation story? So this question is in there. We've also put this question into the Christian religions research as an option. Of course, they will come to find that all Christian religions have the same story for creation through the Bible, but we thought that this could be an interesting thing for them to discover while comparing it to some of the other creation stories from other religions. Just as with the last pack, we have some possible links you could share with your class groups. An extra note here is that there are many terms and concepts within the different religions that will need explanation and scaffolding. So just ensure you pre-read the information before bringing it to the learners, and use your teacher judgment as you always do when sharing these websites with your class. We then have a Venn diagram at the end as an option for comparison. You could have a range of comparisons happening in your class. Some of your learners could choose to compare Catholicism with the religion they've just researched, the other Christian religion they previously researched, or any of the other religions they are interested in comparing. The final pack in this theme is being a good neighbour. This learning pack is again based around a teacher PowerPoint presentation, which you can keep coming back to rather than having a few different PowerPoints. Work through a few slides each session. Again, we have also provided the PDF with teacher notes and a Google version ready to use. We also have a ākonga resource slide for you to share with your learners so they can access the digital books and other links. Of course, you will adapt these to best work for you in your class. By bringing the learning of the previous 2 packs together, we hope your learners will be inspired to finish off with an action that will become part of what you do in your kura to connect with and be good neighbours to other faith communities in your neighbourhood. We hope that this is used as an opportunity to do this and to grow in relationship building for your learners. We begin with prayer and then we dive into what a neighbour does, followed by that well-known question from the Bible, who is my neighbour, where Jesus answers with the parable of the Good Samaritan. Tō Tātou Whakapono has explored this story a few times now, so there are quite a few links to previous learning, which you can find at the top of your detailed suggested learning sequence document and throughout the resources. We particularly encourage you to incorporate these into other learning areas and times for ākonga who haven't had the Tō Tātou Whakapono background, maybe because they haven't attended a Catholic primary. So your learners read the story again, and there is a PowerPoint from prior learning that is great for going into some of the deeper thinking around the story. I highly recommend visiting that to include these thoughts in your discussion. Next, we talk about what is already being done in your parish and school to be good neighbours, and your young people start to think about what other things they could do. There is a lovely digital book to help get their ideas flowing, and there is a list to support. There are also lots of ideas in the background notes. We then go on to think about peace. There is a video to watch, followed up by a worksheet to go deeper, and an online crossword puzzle to consolidate the learning. This is again something the learners have been growing in their understanding of since their first year of Tō Tātou Whakapono Our Faith, growing through the fruits of the Holy Spirit in years 3 and 4, and then into promotion of peace and Catholic social teachings in years 5 and 6. So we have links again that you can use to revisit or introduce these things depending on the needs of your class. We then bring peace into being a good neighbour. We explore Jesus, the Prince of Peace, with a reading page, and these gorgeous kōrero stations you can use in a variety of ways. There are some links to Caritas, whose Social Justice Week resources for 2023 right through to 2025 were based around peace, so there's lots there if you want to go further. Next, there are 2 books sharing some Catholic prayers of peace and some from other faith communities. This will scaffold them into writing their own prayers of peace, and we have a template they can use here using the You Who Do Through template. The rangatahi can then choose from all of these prayers they have seen, including the ones they have written, and make a prayer book. There are a few ideas to explore further if you have time, and then to finish off, the plan is for you to come back to the list that you made with your class about how you could be good neighbours and put one or a few of these into action, hopefully using things like the prayer book you have made as part of this connection. Our story is a beautiful theme where your rangatahi are invited to explore, share, grow, and connect with God. We always love to see and hear how Tō Tātou Whakapono Our Faith is going for you in your place, so please feel free to connect with us at NCRS at any time. Thank you so much for the work you do. We're very grateful to be on this journey with you. Kia tau te rangi Mārie. Peace be with you.